Here's our QR-Trig agenda for the week. So yesterday I had you go over the attendance and set up your Math Excel accounts. Today what we're going to do is first go through and answer your attendance question. Then I'll do the video lesson on drawing angles in standard position and degrees. And then after the lesson, you're going to do the Math Excel assignment 01, and it covers section 2.2.1, which is how to draw angles in standard position. All right, our first section is a chapter called Trig functions, and most of you are familiar with trig functions. Today we're going to look at angles and their measures. And our objective today is to draw angles in degrees in standard position. Okay, at the conclusion of this lesson, the Math Excel assignment that goes along with it is Math Excel 01, section 2.1a. All right, first of all, let's take a look at the anatomy of an angle. Right, so an angle consists of two rays that have a common endpoint. So over here we've got a ray that is in orange, and then a ray that is in green, and they have a common beginning there. All right, that's the endpoint of the ray. Now, when we draw a ray in standard position, what that means is it is going to start on the right x-axis. So this is my x-axis. Here's my y-axis. All right, this would be the positive x-axis, negative x-axis, positive y, negative y. So an angle drawn in standard position will always start on the positive x-axis. It'll always start here. And we call that the initial side. Okay, then what can happen is an angle, the second side, an angle can open up two ways. It can go counterclockwise like this angle, and wherever it stops, we refer to that as the terminal side. Okay, angles can also open the other way. So this terminal side could have opened downward or clockwise, like that, and that would have been known as a negative angle. We name angles usually using Greek letters. And the one that we use most often is the Greek letter theta. So if we want to indicate where an angle is, we take that symbol and we just write it in where the angle opens up. So I would say that's angle theta. Okay, you can use any one of these Greek letters, but usually theta is the one that gets used. All right. Now, I spoke a minute ago about positive angles and negative angles. All right, so a positive angle is an angle that is going to be opening counterclockwise. Okay, so all of these angles start on the positive x-axis. So all these sides that I'm drawing in red are known as the initial side, and they all open counterclockwise. So when we measure angles drawn in this course, this starts at 0. That's 0 degrees. Okay, that's what makes a positive angle. Now, if the angle opened up in the other direction, going clockwise, again, standard position means it starts, the initial side is on the positive x-axis. That's the beginning of the angle. And now the angles are opening in a clockwise direction. Which means they are now going to be negative angles. So all a negative angle means is the direction in which it opens. It opens in a clockwise direction. All right, now we all know how angles are measured. Okay, angles are measured in degrees, and a degree is simply taking a circle and cutting it into 360 little slices. Each one of those slices is a degree. Okay, now why 360? Why not 400 or 200 or 100? Well, it was a long time ago the Babylonians decided on 360 slices. So it was really sort of an arbitrary choice on why a circle is, a degree is a circle divided into 360 slices. They decided it, and it just stayed that way. It is not the only way of measuring angles. And as a matter of fact, in trigonometry and most scientific endeavors, angles are not measured in degrees. They're measured in radians, which is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So here we got different types of angles. All of these angles are drawn in standard position, meaning that they start at on the positive x-axis. So these would be the terminal, or excuse me, the initial side of each angle. The positive x-axis. All right, so we know acute angles, okay, angles that are less than 90. So this would be a positive acute angle. That is, if we took the measurement here, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, about 54 degrees. So we'd say, okay, this angle is 54 degrees. Now down here, this angle, to get the measurement, since this angle opens up counter or clockwise, when we write its measurement, we're going to indicate that it's a negative angle. So this angle is negative, and it terminates in the fourth quadrant. And to get its measurement, we're just going to subtract these two values. So this value, that's 360. Okay, or we could simply just count. We got 360. Okay, then 330. So this is going to be 10 degrees. I'm sorry, 350. So we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then again 4 angles, or 4 degrees. So that is negative 54 degrees. All right, the next angle most of us are familiar with are obtuse angles. And those are angles that are greater than 90 but less than 180. So we have a positive obtuse angle of about 130 degrees. It terminates in quadrant 2. That's where its terminal side is. Here we have a negative angle. So counting from here, we've got each one of these is 10, so down to here that would be 90, then 100, 110, 120, 130, so we'd indicate that that angle is negative 130 degrees. The negative just tells you the direction that the angle is opening. That's all. Okay, now an angle that you may not heard of before is what is known as a reflex angle. A reflex angle is going to be greater than 180 degrees. Okay, so in this case, we've got an angle. Here's the initial side. It opens up counterclockwise. So to here would be 180, then 190, 200, 210, okay, 215, about 216 degrees. Positive, and it terminates in quadrant 3. All right, down here we've got a negative reflex angle, opening up clockwise. To there would be negative 180, then negative 190, negative 200, negative 210, and about negative 215, 216. They're the same size, so I'm going to write negative 216. And this one terminates in quadrant 2. And then our other two types of angles you know what right angles are. So we've got a positive 90 degrees. Now, this doesn't end in a quadrant. It ends on the y-axis. So we can't say that it ends in one of the quadrants. The name of these angles, when they end on an axis, they are called quadrantal angles, because it ends on one of the axes. So our negative 90 degree is also a quadrantal angle, because it ends on the negative x-axis. Okay, our straight angles are exactly 180. So we've got positive 180. This is also a quadrantal angle because its terminal side is on the negative x-axis. And then here is the same thing, except it's just a negative angle. And then obviously we all know that a rotation of 360 degrees is a full rotation, whether it's going clockwise or counterclockwise. So drawing angles is pretty simple. I mean, most angles you've dealt with up to this point have probably been between 0 and 180, but we deal with angles that are greater than that, and oftentimes greater than 360. So to draw an angle in standard position, you're always going to start on the positive x-axis. So all of these angles are going to be starting off to the right. That's where our 0 is when we're measuring angles. All right, so if it's a positive angle, it's going to be opening up counterclockwise. If it's a negative angle, it's going to be opening up clockwise. Okay, and then it's simply a matter of just counting the degrees. So there's 90, 130, 135. Right. Negative 120 now, we're just going in a clockwise direction. So this would be from here to there, that's negative 90, and then we need 100, 110, 120. So there's our angle. So that rotation is negative 120 degrees. Okay, 450. Now this is greater than 360 degrees, so this is more than one full rotation. So if we go around one time, that would get us to 360. And then to figure out how much more we got to go, $90 degrees. So I'm going to have to go to that location right there. And then that would be my terminal side. Okay, and here's our angle. Now this is a quadrantal angle because it ends on the positive y-axis. It doesn't end in one of the quadrants. Right? Now negative 540 degrees. So if we went clockwise, one rotation, that's 360, and we got to figure out how many more degrees do we need to go. So we need to go another 180 degrees. So we start here, we're going to go around. This is negative 360, and now I got to go one more half of a circle, and there's our angle. So the terminal side of this angle is on the negative x-axis. So this is also a quadrantal angle. All right, 600 degrees in the positive direction. So that's going to be one time around, that's 360. If we went two times round, it would be 720. So it's going to be less than two rotations. So I have to go an additional 240 degrees. There's 180, 210, 230, 240. Okay, this angle, this is 600 degrees, and it terminates in quadrant 3. Okay, and finally, negative 780. We're going to go in a clockwise. That would be negative 360. If I go around another time, negative 720. And I need to go an additional 60 degrees. So that's 360. So 60 down here is going to put me at 300. And that's where my terminal side is. So this angle terminates in quadrant 4, and that's a negative 780 degree angle. So drawing angles in degrees is pretty straightforward. Okay, tomorrow we'll do drawing angles in radians, which is a little different. A radian and a degree are not the same thing. So for the assignment, you're going to go to your Math Excel assignment or your Math Excel page, and you're going to do Math Excel assignment 1. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.